I think one of the biggest takeaways here is that representation matters. Like, if your child has speech issues and they see a character like the one in my book who goes through the same stuff, but then still achieves great things, that's everything.
Hello, this is Rita, and this is me and my mommy's podcast, and then my mommy, and there's me, and I'm just talking about this stuff, and there's me tap dance, because this is a tap dance, it's a autism podcast, and there's a bunch of animals, and I'll be trying to eat my hair, and there's a bunch of sand in the ocean. Also, there's also tax stuff, and I love my mental big. Oh, that color also old, yes, negative life. Dolphin pants, their feet. Oh, those they're muffled. The boots are amazing. Also, this trying not to have a fan bag. Also, there's a podcast about autism and tap dancing and blah, blah, blah. I did ADHD in this thing. Also, this cute adorable pup. That's my mommy. I am Nita. This is Leta Tap Styles. That is a human being.
And that is the 13-year-old's way of introducing a podcast. Jason, we're so excited to have you on the show. I am terrible at making introductions of our guests. I sound like a robot when I do it. Do you mind introducing yourself to our audience?
No problem. Yeah. First off, thanks for having me. I appreciate you guys. My name's Jason Heffler, and I wrote a children's book that was based off of my own experiences growing up with a stutter. So yeah, I wrote the book to help kids with speech issues and their parents learn confidence and self-assurance and all other kinds of values.
I am so excited to have you on. I've got the book. It's right here. It took forever to get it, but Leta's got the crazy autistic 13-year-old questions about the book. Hopefully you're okay with that.
Hit me. Let's go.
Being crazy. I feel like
I mean
today
that
you
with the
just
most
get to
loving way
offend me.
possible.
It's okay. I call my wife crazy all the time, but it's a compliment.
Oh, yeah. You had some questions about the book, did you not?
Yeah.
Oh, now she's going to be shy. She will
Hit me.
warm up.
Come on, Leta.
Come on.
I'm all ears.
Oh. Why is the cricket a chameleon friends even though the chameleon tried to eat the cricket?
Why is the cricket and the chameleon friends, even though the cricket or the chameleon tried to eat the cricket?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question, and probably one of the most important parts of the book is that people have their differences, but that doesn't mean they can't be friends and they can't support each other.
Did that answer your question?
Yes.
You know, if
That was like,
it's all about empathy.
she does have her own way of looking at the world like everyone else does. I absolutely love the book. I love everything about the book. I think sometimes I have a hard time dealing with parents. When we had the pre-interview, I told you Leta has her own dance studio for autistic kids. And
Amazing.
a lot of the parents are coming in from the typically able, the neurotypical community. And I can't necessarily relate to them because I'm coming in from the autistic community going, yeah, this is just normal people. But the book makes it so much easier to explain things. Like there's a lot of things which Leta was in speech therapy for a long time. So were her dad and I. There were things her speech therapist was like, we need to work on this. And I'm like, that is not important. I do not need that work done. Do you, having had speech impediments yourself, are there things that you're like, these are important things to work on? Like with Leta, she was non-receptive, non-expressive. She didn't understand the English language. And I'm like, let's work on that. And then they're like, but we need to change her tone of voice. And I'm like, no.
It's tough. Yeah, I wish it were as simple as just changing your voice or quote unquote calming down when you talk, but it's not. Um, in reality, stuttering and a lot of other speech issues, they are neurological conditions. Not a lot of people know that. A lot of people assume that it's just like a vocal cord abnormality, but it's not. It starts from the brain, and it starts from an early age. So, yeah, I mean, I did speech therapy for most of my adolescence. I would say there were a couple of things that worked, that kind of helped me um, embrace it a bit more. Nothing really ever helped the stutter itself. It never went away, but that's the core of my book's messaging is that most parents they seek a cure, a quote unquote cure. But that's really wrong. Um, because self-esteem for a child who stutters is not built by fixing their speech. It's by other people valuing what we have to say. So instead of chasing that cure, the book teaches you that you can embrace your voice as it is, and it can carry you through a life with the same possibilities as everyone else.
Oh yeah, and no, with Leta, when we were going to the speech therapist because she didn't have receptive, which means she didn't understand the English language, I'm like, that
Mhm.
seems like something we need to work on because that's like not understanding language is a problem. But
Yeah, yeah,
they would spend more time
doubly
going, no,
hard.
we need to fix her tone of voice. And I'm like, but she doesn't understand what the color red means.
Yeah, that's like putting the cart before the horse.
And even once they got to it, she still couldn't do her R's and stuff. And they're like, well, we need to make her not sound like she has such a high pitched voice. And I'm like, is this a necessity in life? Did I miss a memo somewhere?
That's ridiculous. So like sounds like they're trying to mask the issue instead of fixing it or making her feel more comfortable with it. So yeah, that's not the best.
And that's what I love about the book is I can hand this to new parents who are just getting the diagnosis and go, here, teach confidence. Don't teach masking.
Exactly. Yeah, it's up. And look, confidence comes later in life for most of us. Like I tell kids all the time, what you have, that it will give you thicker skin in life than others who don't have it. So if you can just be patient, if you can just try to realize that strength in you, like you'll be okay.
Definitely. Are you just going to be silent over there today?
Technically not silence, so she's got you there.
She has some trauma surrounding speech and language pathology therapy, which you shouldn't be 13 going, I have trauma about a therapy.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people do. It's hard, especially when when the therapist, a lot of them they don't deal with it themselves. So a lot of their points are very subjective. Like it's hard to relate to them.
I remember one of my speech therapists, because I talk really, really fast. A lot of times I have to remind myself to slow down so people might understand me.
When does that
But
happen?
not when I'm around you, because I don't care. I'll talk really fast when I
Doesn't
know
happen
people.
around Dad either. But again,
But
I'm married.
yes. But the thing she would have my parents do is in public put a hand on my head to try and put pressure on my head to make me slow down my speech,
Hmm,
which then just made all the other kids around me notice something was going on.
interesting. Yeah, I mean, we all show those things in different ways. That doesn't make any single approach wrong.
It didn't, but it got really annoying because the other kids in class, you know, I'm like 5, and the other kids would come put their hands on my head because, well, that's what you do with Amanda. And the teachers would be like, well, I mean, what were you expecting them to do? And as a 5-year-old, I
Oh,
was like, not touch me?
yeah, they don't know. Like a lot of this that stems from being an ignorant child, and it's it's innocent. At least until like middle school and high school when it becomes legit bullying. That's when it gets hard.
I know even some of the bullying Leta faced in dance studios because we pulled her out of school. Like the moment I had problems in school, I'm like, I am done with this. I am homeschooling the child.
Good for you.
Um, but she, you know, is a dancer. She was in her neurotypical dance studios, and a lot of the stuff the kids were repeating, even middle schoolers and high schoolers, was coming from the adults. And it was things like Lita's voice is high pitched, so she must be mentally delayed.
Yeah, that's rough. I, it's it's not. I feel like it's not. They didn't come from a place of being like malicious or anything, but just not the right way to convey that information.
And it's not fair to you want to say something?
Okay, so if I was mentally delayed, then why were they asking me why I wasn't getting a boyfriend that night? They thought I was freaking 16. A freaking 9. How am I mentally delayed? If you think the 9-year-old, where's the birth certificate? On certificate you when you got the 9-year-old in your class saying, oh hey, this child is 9, and then turn around and ask the 9-year-old why she doesn't have a boyfriend yet. How am I mentally delayed? I think they're
It
mentally
doesn't.
delayed.
Yeah, it doesn't compute. They're the ones who are mentally delayed.
The I will kind of
I
stand up
was
for the teachers.
9.
Yes, you were 9.
I was 9. What 9-year-old has a boyfriend? I was 9. Also, plus, my dad keeps threatening to kill every single boy.
I think the teachers were just trying to understand it for sure.
Part of the issue she had with dance is she is an amazing dancer. So they had my 9-year-old up with the middle schoolers and high schoolers. So she's up
Oh,
with the kids going to homecoming and prom. Of course, they're just, well, she's acting immature because she's autistic, not because she's 9.
well, and you can't extrapolate high school problems like having boyfriends and going to prom to a person who's much younger. I mean, that just seems foolish. No?
No, it is. And I think I will give the teachers, because they're dance teachers, they're not trained on neurodiversity. And they're like, well, she's autistic. She's supposed to be delayed. She's acting like a 9-year-old. That must be the delay. And I'm like, or she just has autoprocessory issues. She has language issues. It's a lot more than y'all think it is.
Yeah, I dealt with the same stuff my entire life. I'm physically delayed. Like my speech is delayed. So teachers and therapists would constantly say, yeah, something is wrong here. But in reality, it's just a block. Like it, it didn't affect the way I communicated. It just, it just stumbled every now and then.
I think that's one of the things that a lot of the parents in the studio from outside the neurodiverse world don't understand, that the speech delays don't necessarily mean that there is a delay with the intellect. It just means that there's a delay understanding how to utilize speech.
Yes. Yep.
And
Exactly.
that's what I look. I'm like, I am telling all the parents to go buy this for themselves. And they're like, it's a kid book. And I'm like, yeah, because you guys need to read it.
Thank you for that. Nice.
I'm
Yeah,
sure
I mean,
their
it's
kids will
the
their
reason
kids will
why
get
I
something
mean,
out of it. But
yeah, the kids for sure, but the parents as well. Like, I think one of the biggest takeaways here is that representation matters. Like, if your child has speech issues and they see a character like the one in my book who goes through the same stuff, but then still achieves great things, that's everything.
And I know with a lot of these parents, the only people they're thinking of is like Temple Grandin as far as autistic. And they're only thinking there's only one type of greatness. And it's like, but not every autistic person is Temple Grandin.
Yeah. I mean,
Mm,
yeah, there's many forms of greatness. Like I said, like for example, one of my cousins is severely autistic, and he's one of the most brilliant guys you'll ever meet. He's like a savant. It's amazing, and like people like him, are looked at differently, you know, to a severe degree, but they are in a lot of ways are smarter and happier than a lot of us.
Oh, yeah. And on speech, I know I've had a few parents go, well, my child stutters, they'll never be an actor. And James Earl Jones, for a
Darth
bunch,
Vader. Yep.
you know, I'm old enough, it was Reading Rainbows, Bringing the Rain to Kapiki Plain.
Yes, I'm old enough to remember that as well. Reading Rainbow. Yeah, Darth Vader stuttered. Emily Blunt, who's one of the most famous actresses in the world, had a stutter, and she's outgrown it, but it comes back every now and then. So the most I people don't know this, but 1% of the country stutters. It's actually a lot of people.
I think the only time I know James Earl Jones did not stutter is when he was on. If he was off, you could tell he was a stutterer.
Yep. It's amazing that kind of, well, I mean, it's the same thing with me actually. So I'm in the music industry, and I've been DJing for a while now. And when I would go on stage and spin, and I would speak into the microphone, the stutter would disappear. It was crazy.
Um, and that's, I don't want to put words into anything, but I've known so many people who've had that. But that doesn't mean that's a right way, correct? Like you're
No.
just as much yourself when you're not DJing. Does that make any
Yes.
sense what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like it's like a mirage. Like you're kind of in this flow state, in this rare state of mind where you're not constantly thinking about it. And then maybe that's why it comes out more smooth. But obviously you can't be in that flow state all the time. It's only fleeting.
She's trying to get her puppy dog on the couch over there is what's going on.
I know. Look,
He is like, but it's right about time for my pill treat so that I'll calm down. He has severe anxiety disorder.
what's his name?
Jack Elvis.
Jack Elvis? It's cute. I love
Uh,
dogs with people names.
he, the whole story is he kind of chose our family. He was one of the COVID puppies by people who probably should not have adopted puppies during COVID. And the family that had him lived in our neighborhood. They'd never had a dog before, so they adopted a Staffy Pity puppy mix.
Oh, cute.
They are not easy puppies.
Just wild, like insane.
They have intense energy and they need a lot of attention and emotional support as puppies. And now he's up on the sofa. And they had 3 kids under the age of 5, which is probably not the time to get a puppy anyways.
No. Oh, it's a lot of responsibility.
We didn't know them, but he kept running away to our house.
It's cute though.
And They had named him Jack, but he wound up spending an entire Thanksgiving weekend with us because they went out of town. Their dog sitter didn't bother to look for
And
him for
Dad
the 4
kept
days.
saying, "Don't name the dog," and Dad kept saying "dog" instead of "dog." He kept saying "dog" instead of
And-
"dog."
I'm
And so
surprised
you
his
named the
name's
dog
not
Elvis.
Owen.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's attached to her at the hip, if you can't tell.
I can tell. It's adorable. I love dogs. We're thinking about buying one, but we're doing baby first and then dog.
We did dogs first and then baby, and that was interesting. If you can do the baby first, I suggest the baby first.
That's my plan for sure.
But we were she's an only child. She was pregnancy 13. We were pretty sure we were not having a child, so we went ahead and got the dogs.
Yeah, I've heard that that's a popular approach. I mean, they have to have some kind of like companion, you know.
When she was born, we had an Anatolian shepherd. He was like, "Yep, you are my sheep and you are my lamb and you are not allowed to walk and you are not," and completely
Oh my
gentle with
God.
her, not gentle if anyone came near her.
Oh my God. I kind of like that though. A protective dog.
Oh yeah.
What about Jazz? I watched her take somebody's fingernail off.
We had a lab pity mix that was also a little protective of her too.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But they had been both in the house before she came home, so they felt differently about her than like he feels about her because she was, 10 when he came into her life. I did want to talk a little bit about the bullying because I know Leta's gotten bullied. I've gotten bullied for my speech, which is, not the same as stuttering. But one of the questions these parents keep asking me, and I'm like, I didn't know that was a question. I thought the answer was yes. Did the bullying affect you as a child?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was ruthless. I mean, it was bad. Definitely affected me, definitely got to my head. I say this a lot. I luckily had an amazing support system. Parents were amazing. They supported me through it all. I have a big brother who would like beat up bullies. And then I have a twin sister who would lash out at any like girl at school who would anything. I was lucky to have that. And I leaned on them a lot, but uh, it accumulated over time. It definitely made me kind of a shell of myself, especially going into like middle school. Um, High school was not as bad because the kids are a little older, and I'm a bit more mature and I can like defend myself. But yeah, the bullying is awful, and it doesn't really ever.
The other question I'm getting by parents, and I'm like, once more, I thought the answer to that was yes. Did you ever have a bad therapist, and did that affect you having a bad therapist?
I never had a therapist that really like offended me. No, I had a few that I thought were incompetent that just didn't weren't really helping me, but I never had one that was like egregiously bad. No.
The ones that were like not that you thought were incompetent. Lita's had a couple of those. She threw up on a couple of those, and I was like, I'm sorry, as mom, I'm going to agree with her throwing up on you.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
because of her autism, speech and language pathology also tried to work on her texture issues with food, and she does not like pizza, still does not like pizza, and her therapist tried to
Wow.
force her to eat pizza.
You like, are you talking about holding her mouth open and trying to? That is
Yeah,
so messed up.
and she threw up on them a few times, and I'm like, and your point? And they're like, well, you need to talk to her about it. I'm like, no.
You tried to shove food in her mouth that she said she doesn't like.
And I'm like, I think you're a little incompetent. And they're like, well, what would you know? You only have a PhD in physics. And I'm like, you're right. I only have a PhD in physics. Your master's degree is so much more impressive than my PhD.
I also have a PhD in common sense. So yeah, that's just insane.
I don't know if they give out PhDs in common sense to physicists, but
They should. Everyone's an expert nowadays, right? But no one has, or not a lot of people have pure common sense.
common sense seems to be lacking currently in today's society.
Yes, it is. Just
Is he chewing on top? He has gotten a piece of cardboard and he's chewing it on her lap. And now she's distracted.
I would be too if I had a pup here.
The puppies have been a godsend to her because she has the other ones upstairs. She has things that love her unconditionally.
My dogs were like my best friends growing up. When I didn't have any friends, I had my pups at home.
Yeah, that's been a thing with her. You need me to fix that camera real quick? You're on camera. I did want to ask because I'm guessing that's possibly why. Why did you choose animals as the subjects for the book?
I know that animals. I researched a lot into what appeals to kids. Whimsical animals were like the top approach. Colorful, it keeps their attention. And who doesn't love cute animals? The appeal is broad.
I know a lot of the kids with neurodivergency, there are some push for some papers and research to see about their connection to animals because they all
Really?
seem to love animals.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I'm talking to a bunch of the neurologists who are like, yeah, we all loved animals as kids. And I'm like, yeah, and you guys are all not typical. Let me remind you of that.
Yeah, yeah, they're smarter than all of us.
They're like, yeah, and parents seem to think we're neurotypical. I'm like, how did you convince those parents that you are neurotypical? I'm just saying, your bedside manner just screams autism.
It's great. Yeah, I feel like animals is something everybody can relate to. You know what I mean? I know that I picked a chameleon to represent me because they can stumble over their tongue, and they camouflage into things to avoid confrontation.
That was going to be my next question. I know Leta has often camouflaged herself. Corners are her favorite part of dance studios because you can hide in the corner. She's looking
Yeah,
at me like, yeah.
it's something I think, and it's not just with people with speech problems. Confidence is a currency that not a lot of us have, and we hide. It's a bummer, but really, like, what really made me kind of come out of hiding as an adult was when I would acknowledge what I have. If I would be in a job interview, or if I was if I met a new person who I thought could be a friend, I would just off the bat say, hey, I have a stutter. It doesn't affect the way I communicate. If anything, it makes me a better friend. I hope that's okay. And 9 times out of 10, the person on the other end would say, like, of course, it's fine. Like, I respect that. Thank you for your honesty. So, like, once I started to acknowledge it and realize that most people have empathy, it really made me speak more and speak more confidently.
Are there a lot of accommodations that people need when they stutter?
No, I mean, no. It's hard for me to say because my stutter is not severe. Um, a severe stutter can't get a word out. It takes minutes to say a short sentence. So I'm not, I can't quite answer an accommodation style
Understandable.
question, but me, I didn't need any special accommodations. No.
I think when we're talking with Leta and some of the accommodations she needs in dance studios, a lot of them don't sound like accommodations if you're in the differently abled community. Because, like,
Like, what's an example?
with her autism, she hates looking people in the eyes. Like, it will drive her bonkers. And if she's looking you in the eyes, she is not listening to you.
Huh. Wow.
And you would think not having to look someone in the eyes is not the biggest accommodation out there.
Yeah, that's tough.
And I've now started asking people, going, so this is going to sound crazy. What things should just be common sense or just be common courtesy? Or she hates people touching her. And dance studio teachers are like, but she has to give me a hug at the end of each class. And I'm like, or let's not and say we did.
Yeah, that's such an easy accommodation. It shouldn't be a problem at all.
And those were some of the harder ones. And they're like, well, we'll just push her past this limitation. And I'm like, that's not really your
Yeah.
decision to make on where that limitation goes.
Yeah. If there was any accommodation for a stutter that I would recommend, it's that people should hold off, but don't finish their sentences. Exercise patience and let them finish their sentences, because it's the effort that matters, not the substance. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that was, I think I phrased it very bad, but it was like the stupid accommodations that you shouldn't have to ask people for. It should just be common
Yes.
sense.
They should be common sense. Exactly. Something like that should be obvious. And like another one is, don't tell us to relax or to calm down. We are calm. We just, this is how our speech is. Like it's not a matter of, our demeanor or our energy levels. It's just, that's how it always is.
Yeah. That was where I was getting with that question is what stupid things should not be an accommodation that people should just nicely do. Cause it's one of my friends is like, do not push my wheelchair across a crosswalk. That shouldn't be an accommodation I'm asking for, but do not come up and push it across for me.
So sad.
Yeah, it should be obvious. Yeah, just don't finish our sentences. Just try to be patient. That's really all. Like I hate the word normalize, because that's been beaten into oblivion by every therapist and everyone on TikTok. But normalizing it is important. Like all we want to do is feel normal, and I'm sure that goes for autistic people as well, although they might not vocalize it.
I'm talking to some of the Gen Zers, and she's Gen Alpha, but I'm going to lump some of those Gen Alpha kids in it. And they're like, yeah, we don't like normal. We've decided your normal is crazy.
Yes. Yeah, the pendulum is starting to swing the other way. It's amazing, actually.
I'm like, go ahead, Leta.
Do people try to kidnap your friend on a regular basis? Because that sounds like kidnapping. Like
They're being
kidnapping
nice.
you can't get out of.
It does.
It does kind of sound like kidnapping, but it doesn't.
Are you sure? Because that's clearly the definition of kidnapping. That was wheels.
Could be.
And you can't run.
You do. They like come up and push her across the crosswalk, and she's like, I didn't ask you for the help.
Kidnap her.
Is it from a place of them wanting to be friends, or is it okay? Okay.
It's normally strangers thinking they're doing their good deed for the day.
Okay. It's
She's
hard
also
to it's hard to like knock that, but at the same time, it's like maybe you should approach it a little more gracefully.
she tends to just be like afterwards, seriously, to us, her friends, she will go off about it.
Sure.
But to whoever it is, she's kind of like, thank you. And then she's to her friends going, seriously, I'm not a baby. I can get my own wheelchair across the crosswalk.
Yeah, I mean, if you got to speak up. It's important. Otherwise, it'll just keep happening.
That's I absolutely love the book because there's not a lot of stuttering books out there. There's how do I want to put this? There's not a lot to look up to because when you're saying even James Earl Jones, people are going, oh, but he was Darth Vader, so he stopped stuttering. And they're not seeing what was going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, he's the outlier or the exception. Everyone else, they struggle every day. And there's a lot of books that are more clinical. Stay here in the background. There's a lot of books that are more clinical, and they're not really tailored toward kids.
He's decided to act fully like a puppy over here. He is not the best podcast host. He'd be going upstairs if he's not careful.
He can stay.
No. Oh. He gets away with bloody murder, and it does not help that he is spoiled rotten at his vet's office.
How come
He knows he's adorable.
Nope, no, 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 no.
Leta, turn off the microphone for right now.
What?
Your mic is on. And every time he goes to his vet's office, he gets told he needs to go on a diet as they're giving him treats. And I'm like, you're kind of giving him mixed signals here, guys.
Counterproductive, yeah. But he knows he's cute, so he knows he can game the system.
Oh, yes. But yeah, the representation in here and the fact that, Candace, I mean, I absolutely love the artwork too. The artwork is amazing. But
Thank you.
the fact that she actually learned to be okay with her stutter, I think it works for not just kids with a stutter. I think it works for the autistic kids. I think it works for the ADHD kids. I think it works with the kids with dyslexia and dysgraphia.
Yeah. So I actually don't even, the word stutter is not even in the book. I didn't want to pigeonhole it to just stutterers because the message can resonate with every kind of condition you just listed. Like at the end of the day, like people with speech issues, they have like this confident voice that's like trapped in their head. And if you find it, like if you can just find that confidence and find that, like it's just all uphill from there. And the Cadence in the book, it takes her, you have to kind of bulldoze your boundaries and get out there and interact and encounter people that you might be scared of. But once you do, it's just bam, all the confidence just comes very quickly.
I mean, the whole time I was reading it and rereading it, and I know it's like a little book and I'm 43, so I should be able to read it multiple times. But it's an amazing book. I cannot emphasize that enough. I do not read out loud. I have a lot of the trauma from having to read out loud in school systems. And with the dyslexia, the slight dyslexia and slight dysgraphia, it is nowhere near as bad as Leta's dyslexia and dysgraphia. Trying to read aloud never has gone well for me.
Yeah,
But-
it's crazy. Those experiences seem so innocuous and so normal for everyone else, but for people like you and I, there are these super stressful tightrope walks, and like if they don't go right over and over and over and over and over again, it can really affect us.
Well, and Leta is so dyslexic, she is still having trouble, like, even reading to herself. And I know a lot of dance
Wow.
studio teachers, the amount of reading and writing you have to do in dance is outrageously shocking.
Really? I wouldn't think that.
They like a lot of the ballet studios, you have written tests to go up to your next level of ballet. There's a lot of flashcards being done and teachers going, well, you should be able to read. These are people who've never, not like the teachers at public schools have had special ed education, but dance teachers definitely have not.
Yeah, I mean, that I could totally foresee, but I didn't know that there was like a fair amount of reading and writing in that world.
Yeah. And she's had teachers who they think dyslexia is just like the word slightly floating on the page. She has such severe dyslexia, it even messes with how she learns how to pirouette and how she learns how to do
Wow.
turns and jumps. And the teachers are like, well, I want her to read in class. She has always stumbled on reading in class because she can't read. And they're like, well, just concentrate harder and it won't be so hard.
Yeah. Again, that's just like such a reductive approach. It's a bummer.
But I even broke down, and because she can't read, I read the book to her a couple times, and I didn't feel like this sounds crazy, but usually I feel judged even when it's like that the author is in the room and going to judge me over how I'm reading their book. I know it's an insane idea.
No, it's not. I'm the same way. Sometimes I even stutter when I'm reading. Like, even though I'm not speaking, like the words as I'm reading, I still block on them. And that's like there's a sense of shame in that and embarrassment. So I get it. 100%.
I did not feel that way while reading your book.
Really?
Really, I felt like it was okay for me to not be able to get the words and to stumble over the words.
Thank you so much. That means so much to me because that's the goal here. You know, I really appreciate that.
Like I said, I'm in my 40s and I was like, I wish this book had been around when I was a child.
Me too. Yeah, I mean, I essentially wrote the book that I needed as a kid.
But the doggy is just, I don't know what he's doing now.
I can't hear him. It's all good.
He's really quiet 90% of the time, and then he thinks he's part husky, and then it's like
Howling at the moon.
But he definitely has the poor puppy because he spent so much time on the streets when they weren't home, and he'd just get out of the house and go wandering. He's got scars from being out on the streets, and it's like, yeah, I get where your anxiety comes from, puppy.
Yeah, rescues are amazing if they become domesticated.
Oh yeah, and all of ours have always been rescues, so we don't do
Good for
the
you guys.
normal easy rescues. We always do the hard cases. He's about the
Wow.
easiest rescue case we've done.
Good for you guys, though. Respect.
She's like, what about my beagle lab mix upstairs? She is a pain in the butt, is what she is.
Such a human.
Beagles can be tough, from what I've heard.
Someone took a beagle and a lab and mixed them together, and it was working hunting line. Those are two mixes that should never have been in the same mix.
For me.
Nope. We had when I was a kid, we had 2 poodles. They were named Bow and Arrow. Poodles are like extreme. They're actually hunters, believe it or not. And they're not very like ours weren't very cuddly. They would kind of like cringe if you tried to hug them.
The beagle door is. Oh, you want to do that one?
Beagle? Door. Will kill a moose. She tried to kill a moose.
Okay, we.
Yes.
No.
I mean,
No
you
way.
know, when she the moose and went, I'm gonna go eat the moose. I mean,
I believe that story
she
was
got
a.
stopped before she could find the moose. But moose, I guess, the moose would be dead.
I'm not 100%. So we left her. She goes back and forth to LA for her tap stuff all the time. Her dad was deployed last year a lot, or the whole year. So we had to keep leaving our dogs at the kennel.
If Ella
And the
could,
kennel,
she would very much go after the moose.
the guy who walks her at the kennel called up and went, so fun news, we have moose in the west side of Colorado Springs. Bella and I saw the moose. I didn't let her kill it though.
Moose are gigantic. If your dog is squaring up with a moose, that's impressive.
She's dumb enough. She's a little 45-pound dog who is dumb enough to go, I can square up against you.
But she would
Wow.
also do that if she found a polar bear.
All she got was a hunting side of both the Labrador and the Beagle mixed together. It's not
What
helpful.
if she's jumped off a
protected at all
two-story
times.
balcony?
What did you think of the book, Leta, since you've been so busy dealing with a Jack Ellis?
That was a chameleon. That was a chameleon. And a cricket. And they were friends. And the chameleon didn't eat the cricket.
The fact that she remembers anything about it is an endorsement from her, Jason.
I'll take the compliment. Yeah. I didn't actually realize, like, crickets are probably snacks for chameleons. So I actually never put that together. And it's kind of like a miracle that the cricket stays alive.
I think that's one of the things I liked most about the book is it is a miracle the cricket stays alive. And it is the thing that she should have eaten that's giving her the confidence.
Yeah. I'm actually kicking myself. That was a happy fail. Like, that worked out very well.
I don't know that it was a fail. It worked out extremely great for the story.
But when the
I
chameleon...
call them happy fails, like things that were not supposed to happen, but they worked out in my favor. That's great.
I
Good
will
call.
take that.
But when the chameleon eat other crickets, while they're hanging out, so when the cricket see its friends or family members get eaten by its friend and just be totally fine with it and probably help murder its family or friends.
So that is her autistic mind at work over there.
It's fair. That's a fair question. Not this particular cricket, or this particular chameleon. This particular chameleon is not a vegetarian.
I actually, when I was working at Children's Museum Denver, we had a problem with our chameleon stopped eating crickets. So it must be related to Julia.
But
Actually, yeah, let's say that the chameleon is a vegetarian and only eats plants.
well, it's gonna die quickly.
Hopefully not.
In this realm, or in this story, it doesn't matter. Okay, she spends a little too much time
Spend a little too much time. What?
nitpicking animal stuff because one of the things in dance was all the teachers would tell you stuff that
They
was told.
said that a gorilla was a monkey. That's nitpicking. That's just, I'm not stupid, you are stupid. How did you make it past, I don't know, being made? Oh,
To be fair, it's all facts. She's speaking facts.
yeah. Oh, how could, I don't know, orangutan climb trees and swing through branches if its fingers weren't strong and if it didn't have strong finger muscles? Because I'm pretty sure that an orangutan can have bad finger muscles and have very loose finger muscles if it needs to climb trees to live.
Well, you got to have imagination, right?
Her dance teachers were sitting there telling her she needed to have loose fingers like orangutans and not tight, muscular fingers.
I
Right?
needed to not have loose fingers like an orangutan. That's BS.
And she would then start thinking, you're so stupid, I'm not listening to anything else you're saying, which is kind of on par for autistic kids.
Interesting. Yeah, I understand where that's coming from. But yeah, in reality, they were trying to figure out some kind of reference to make it easier to understand.
Which a lot of autistic kids don't. They need it like cold hard facts. They don't do very
Yeah.
well if you're trying to use other references trying to make that work. They're like, no, it needs to be cold hard facts. They don't understand sarcasm. They don't understand a lot of literature uses of things. They're like, no, I
Yeah.
didn't get what you meant.
But I'm the same way, actually. And I think a lot of stutterers are. We don't just give it to us straight. Like most people, when we talk to them, they feel like they can't acknowledge it or talk about it. Then they have to like dance around it. And then it creates this like awkward air around it all. But we want to talk about it. It helps dissolve like the shame that we feel when we open our mouths. You know what I mean?
She's also had a lot of, because most of hers has come from dance teachers who have gone, I love you so much that I'm not going to acknowledge your autism.
Is that why they
Yeah,
baby
that's,
talk
I
me?
mean, what was that?
She's like, is that why they baby talk me? No, that was because they thought that's what your mental capability was.
Yeah.
Why can't I punch people again? I don't
Because
care about
violence is
moving.
bad.
What do you mean? It was bad again. Non-violence. You
Can't punch people.
Handshake. Thank you very much. I made my
The
point.
world is not ready for the Gen Alpha. The kids that grew up in COVID are unique.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. I mean, compounding what they already have with the isolation, I can't even imagine.
She was that I think it's I'm trying to get my friends to do papers on it because I don't have time to write any more papers. But that Gen Alpha group that either were born or were like just getting services, or even Leta, there was a major disruption in services. And she was doing speech therapy with full N95 masks over her therapist's face.
Oh my,
Um,
it's insane. I mean, how can you? Part of it is you need to see the mouth speaking and all the patterns, and I mean that's obviously one of many nuances that are supposed to help speech. So I can't even imagine, and it cuts off your air too.
Oh, yeah. And on top of it, that was after we got back into the clinic after 8 months out of the clinic.
Whoa. Let me say, I have so much respect for you and other parents who had to navigate that. You never assume or think that you would have to do something like that, but you thought on your feet and you rode with them the whole time. And I just can't even imagine how tough that was.
I just don't think the world is ready for these kids because they had so much change for that 3 years. Like when Leta went into into all the stuff, she could still play on playgrounds. By the time we got out, she had aged out of a lot of the playgrounds near us.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
And there were like Chuck E. Cheese she could do beforehand, couldn't do it once we got out. She was too old for it. And you have these kids kind of lived with all of the adults talking about death around them. They are like Gen Xers on steroids.
Wow. Yeah. I didn't think about that either. Because when you're at home, you are witnessing conversations from your parents that you never would have otherwise if you were at school. So I'm sure they internalize a lot of it and then talk about it in places they're probably not supposed to.
And they do
No,
not.
wait. Any reason to not do points or return?
Yeah, your entire generation needs to learn not to do violence. They also were watching like Black Lives Matter and the protest on television, and the National Guard cleaning out Lafayette Square. I mean, these kids grew up different.
Reason to not do violence. You literally just list certain points of time where they decided violence was okay.
Let's get back to this because we told Jason we would only keep him an hour. I have so many more questions for you. We may have to reach out to you in a few months and go, can we bring you back on the program?
I would love to.
Where can people find you online?
Well, you can find the book on Amazon. Just type in tongue tied book and it'll be one of the first two results there. And then you can find me on Instagram. The handle is Heff underscore that Heff.
We will have all that in the description below. I know that if you also go to the information desk at Barnes and Nobles, they will go ahead and order it for you so you don't have to make a mistake.
Yes. Yes, we are available in Barnes and Nobles and a couple other major book retailers.
I'm not sure my checking account appreciated me walking into Barnes and Nobles, but
It's dangerous. I used to spend so much money there as a teenager.
it is dangerous. And I've got their $40 a year membership, which means, that's counted. So I should just use it to make sure I get my $40 worth, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the right math.
Is there anything else you want to tell our audience before we let you go?
No, I think we hit it all. I think if there was any parting thought, it would just be if you meet a stutterer, listen to what they have to say. Don't finish their sentences. Just be patient. Treat them like anyone else, because all they want to do is get their thoughts out and connect with you. So just let them do that.
Thank you so much for coming on the show this week. Thanks to our audience again for listening. All that information is going to be in the description below. And as always, we have a short bio of all of our guests on the website. See everyone for Tap Tuesday. Thanks again. Bye.
Hello, thank you for watching the podcast. Please subscribe and also look at the adorable paper. Just to also subscribe for it and also please comment. And don't forget if you subscribe to us, if you want this instant of our new podcast, and also be the adorable paper. So if you like it,